Fascism is a cheapened word. It's thrown around by people who have little to no idea what fascism is or what constitutes a fascist regime. Go and read Mussolini's doctrine of fascism and then study how the man behaved while in power. What were his principles? As I've said elsewhere, in a video many years ago in fact, racists and chauvinists who are not fascist are often branded as such by ignorant people who haven't done their homework. But one thing that is true is that fascism is anti-liberal. That can't be disputed. It isn't disputed by any serious scholar. Fascism is anti-liberal. Yeah. Lawrence Britt, having studied various fascist regimes, came up with 14 defining characteristics, which I shall read to you now. 1. Powerful and continuing nationalism. 2. Disdain for the recognition of human rights. 3. Identification of enemies / scapegoats as a unifying cause. 4. Supremacy of the military / glorification of military service. 5. Rampant sexism. 6. Controlled mass media. 7. Obsession with national security. Number 8. Religion and government are intertwined. 9. Corporate power is protected. 10. Labour power is suppressed. 11. Disdain for intellectuals and the arts. 12. Obsession with crime and punishment. 13. Rampant cronyism and corruption. And number 14. Fraudulent elections. With the exceptions of 8 and 9, you could have a fair outline view of many communist regimes of the 20th century there. I don't know who this Lawrence Britt is exactly, other than he's someone who wrote an article for Free Inquiry magazine many years ago, and maybe he wrote a novel depicting a future America dominated by right-wing extremists as well, but I haven't read it, so yeah. Future dominated by right-wing extremists in America. The future is now, I suppose, but here's my question. Would you call the United States a fascist country? It's certainly a patriotic land with a history of human rights abuses, a country which needs enemies to justify its policies at home and its imperialistic endeavours abroad. Military supremacy, obsession with national security, cronyism, corruption, harsh policing, harsh prison sentences. Check, 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 check again. But it doesn't tick all of Lawrence Britt's boxes, does it? In America, they have separation of church and state, and trade unions have certain rights, and the right to free speech and expression in the US is treated almost religiously. A lot of Americans treat their constitution like it's a religious document. What about rampant sexism? It's certainly a male-dominated government in the US. Show me a country which isn't, would be my challenge. Yeah. The corporate power structure and the corporate media is, in the US, from the outside looking in, worrying. Yeah. What's even more concerning is the security apparatus, the Secret Service, the CIA, whose activities in South America and the Middle East do not cover the stars and stripes in glory. More concerning still is the Patriot Act, introduced after the 9/11 terror attacks. An excellent blueprint for perpetual tyranny and an all-powerful police state is the Patriot Act. However, I would not call the United States of America a fascist state. An imperial empire, yes, but not fascist. If you go back and read the words of Mussolini, among others, you see, and you could establish as a scholar of history by studying the regimes of Mussolini, and Franco and Salazar, etc., that collectivism was the order of things. The state is all-encompassing. No value exists outside of the state. The state rules the life of the individual. The individual is merely a unit to be moulded and shaped as the ruling class sees fit. What the United States has, which is by no means what all nations have, is a commitment to and a culture of individualism, which can't be done away with or snuffed out overnight. It's culturally entrenched. So too is institutional racism and sexism, but that's another topic. Perhaps I'm wrong, but I like to think that the US as a country is inoculated against some of the worst excesses of runaway far-right nationalism, the likes of which the world saw over here in Europe in the last century. Only time will tell, if you'll excuse the crappy cliche. Anyway, please take the time to rate, comment and subscribe, and I will see you next week, ladies and gents. Peace.